Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I'm Super Mike Machine.
And I am Shinya Hashimoto.
Welcome to episode 97, G1 Climax 1993.
Woo. Some of it. That's the tagline.
Yes,
some of it.
Some
is the,
of it.
Yeah.
Here and there.
Ellipses.
As much as we could possibly find.
Yeah.
So the G1 Climax was again a 16-man single elimination tournament held between August 3rd and August 7th.
Oh, that's so short.
1993. This version would include several wrestlers from War, which is a promotion that we talked about on the January 4th show that we covered, and Pro Wrestling Fujiwara Gumi. Normally, we would tell you to go find these matches out on Daily Motion or New Japan World.
Yeah, they're not even on New Japan World?
Only the final is on New Japan World. But the last time I checked, there was a crackdown on stuff just a few weeks ago, so I'm not sure if any of these matches are still there. There might be one or two, but I don't know. So we went and found some old TV footage, found some on the internet.
Essentially, Matt gave me a USB drive that had a ISO disc rip of VHS tapes.
Yes.
That were cut in Japan. So it's
it's basically
you get parts of
Japanese television,
yeah,
that kind of thing. So what we're mostly getting is finishing stretches of matches, but we basically wanted to cover it anyway, because we love Japanese wrestling, we love New Japan Pro Wrestling.
We love the G1.
We love the G1.
We love a lot of these guys that we're about to talk about. We've watched them before, and we look forward to seeing them as we continue to cover the show. They are important men in the history of wrestling, and if we're out here talking about Monsters of Mayhem, I think was the Tommy Lee band. Then, how can you not sit here and just talk about Chono and Hashimoto and Hase and Mutoh as much as possible?
Exactly.
I mean, is this my second G1?
Yes, you were here last.
Yeah.
For
I feel like
92.
you've been here for most of the Japanese wrestling coverage.
I'm getting to where I can recognize them now.
Yeah.
After only just a couple matches, I can point out Chono. I can point out
the main guys.
Yes.
Yeah, Hase, Hashimoto, Mutoh.
Yeah. That was a big one for me because, I only ever knew Mutoh growing up, so.
Yeah, I'm going to get your Keiji on.
But since we are in Japan for this show.
Oh, we are.
Shane probably flew halfway across the world to get us something delicious.
I did.
Yeah, we got Postmates via rickshaw.
Yes. Once again, we take this culinary journey around the globe, landing in Japan. Unfortunately, I was unable to book a flight because I'm a broke ass and America
wouldn't let you in anyway.
Yeah, and Americans can't fly anywhere and nobody wants us to go there anyways.
I don't think that most people are getting anywhere at this point.
So I went local to another one of our wonderful restaurants here in Oklahoma City. This time, a place called Musashi. It's a sister restaurant of the place I got the Yellowtail special for Monday Night Raw last week. This time, I figured we'd bring it home a little bit. The three of us, we all have a current career in the culinary world of burgers. And it's not your typical fast food. We are representing Oklahoma City's elite burger restaurants. All elite, if you will.
The
A-E-B. A-E.
The Dudes of Discourse and Boys of the Bun.
Yes. I like it. So I went to Musashi's and took away with some of their Wagyu sliders. Wagyu is the Japanese-style beef, and it is very flavorful and delicious. We've got it on a nice little, what did you say this bun was here?
Yeah, just a little tiny little Kaiser slider roll. They're little beef sliders.
Yeah, a little Kaiser Cobra slider.
Mm-hmm.
Or Wagyu slider. I almost said, yeah. I don't know why I said
Kaiser slider 98.
Yes. With a little wasabi mayo. You have the option to add a fried quail egg or some jalapenos. I'm kind of wishing I would have added the jalapeno just for a little extra texture. I'm needing like a pickled vegetable or something on there. But
a little, what do boring people say? Basic. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Not bad.
It's
but
your typical,
very straightforward.
Little slider, little sauce, nice soft bun.
Mm-hmm.
There's some
charbroiled. So you got that going on.
Yeah, there's some flecks of garlic on here. It looks like some black sesame.
A little bit.
So, I mean, flavor-wise, you can taste the wasabi mayo. It needs that extra punch of crunch of like a pickled onion or a pickled something.
Pickled onion.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm not mad. I'll try them again.
Well, while they're taking down those sliders, something that happened right around the same time as the G1 Climax, UB40
red wine
would be in the midst of a 7-week run at number 1 with their single Can't Help Falling in Love.
Oh, what's the chorus on this one? Yeah, great song. I always, whenever I think UB40, I immediately think Red Wine. But this song, I feel like, is legitimately just as popular, but for some reason, I think the Red Wine chorus is like quicker to the punch, so it's a bit more of an earworm, but I don't think it's the better song.
No.
In like hindsight, because I was like, what is this? Why can't I know it, but I don't know it, but you get The Fools Rush In, starring Matthew Perry.
Presley.
Yeah, good stuff. And who knows who wrote it, because Elvis Presley didn't write any of his songs.
Colonel
like I said, I've been watching Ken Burns' Country, and you learn a lot about how important songwriting is and the person actually performing the song, whether they wrote it or not, and how big of a difference that makes.
Yes.
You know,
absolutely.
like in an easy modern one would be Bruce Springsteen writing Blinded by the Light, and then Manfred Mann Band making it a bigger song, even though he did record it for a second album. Or even more relatable for most people probably is the song Hurt by Nine Inch Nails, and then Johnny Cash turning it into basically what is known as a canon Johnny Cash song. I always
think of Neil Diamond writing I Am a Believer, but the Monkees turned it into a
hit.
Hit.
Or another one, Crazy, for Fallen, Patsy Cline, written by a very young Willie Nelson.
Yep.
So, you know, it doesn't matter.
Blue by Leanne Rimes was also written by Willie Nelson for Patsy Cline.
Just because you can be a great songwriter and not a great performer.
Well, I had to do the lookup for this one. It was written by Hugo Peretti, Luigi Creatori, and George David Weiss. Originally recorded by Elvis in 1961 for the Blue Hawaii album.
Nice. All right. So, yeah, this is like after like he really hit, because he hits in like, I guess I don't know.
Jailhouse Rock.
Yeah.
That Hound Dog.
Yeah. But Blue Suede Shoes, like he kind of. We're not talking about Elvis here, but that UB40 song is great, and UB40 being a British band doing like a more pop friendly like reggae. Whereas like that, like reggae,
I think that's the thing about
reggae and like traditional ska is really important to like British alternative music, the Clash and just like immigrants there, and it was a thing, and it had been a thing for a long time. But they really, UB40 turned it into a pop song, pop production. It doesn't sound like the Clash, even though the Clash were doing reggae the majority of their career in different ways. It definitely doesn't sound like this.
I'm trying to remember.
Much better.
Sliver. That's what it was from. Okay. Like I knew it was for a movie in the 90s. And yeah, Sliver with Sharon Stone. That was one of the main songs from the soundtrack.
Well,
It's bugging me.
I need my UB40 greatest hits. Maybe that's my Friday listening.
Just 2 songs over and over again?
No, I'm gonna hit the greatest hits at least. But enough of UB40. We've got G193.
That's right.
That's right. So, just kind of an overall general statement. The last time we saw most of these guys was at Super Show 3, unless I mention it otherwise.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
So don't get it twisted.
So our first match, Hiromichi Fuyuki versus Takayuki Iizuka in a first round matchup. Now Fuyuki was a wrestler for War at the time, but over his career wrestled in all of the major Japanese promotions.
And G1, they want the best. And Iizuka is a young guy. We've seen him even in a WCW show. I believe he got pretty hurt in that Steiner's match, I believe it was.
That is correct.
Oh, that was him?
Yeah, it was Iizuka.
Ah, okay.
But we join this match in progress, as we do many of these matches.
Yes.
But Fuyuki goes up top with a fistful of Iizuka's hair, jumping off with a butt splash, taking Takayuki to the mat.
A hip attack.
Hiromichi with multiple back suplexes, including bridging on the last one for the pin and the win. This is what we mean by
it's gonna be quick.
It's gonna be quick.
Yeah.
So we're off to our second match. Super Strong Machine versus Shiro Kosinaka in a first round matchup. And we haven't seen either one of these men since Super Show 2, which is all the way back in episode 65. We join this one in progress as well, as Super Strong Machine is lifted up for a powerbomb.
Ooh, and that pin attempt for a 2 count.
Because he kicks out.
Yes.
He's then tossed to the ropes for Kosinaka to hit a running hip attack, followed by a top rope hip attack and a clothesline for a 2 count.
Them hip attacks, yeah. This is the Shakira episode.
Shiro with a body slam goes up top again for another hip attack, but Super Strong Machine catches him, delivering a bridging German for the pin and the win.
And here we have a little bit of continuity in this 2-minute section we watched, where it started with a
hip attack?
No, with a slam into a pin and into with a slam into a pin.
Yeah. So then we get our third match, Masahiro Chono versus Ashura Hara in a first round matchup. And Hara worked for War at this time as well.
Yeah, this is our first Hara, I believe.
Joined in progress as Ashura hits multiple clotheslines for multiple 2 counts, goes for another, only for Masa to duck and start delivering Yakuza kicks.
Those Yakuza pump kicks.
They then trade clotheslines and kicks for a moment before Chono hits a clothesline and takes down Hara into the STF, but he's able to crawl to the ropes to break the hold.
Hell yeah. And of course these crowds are going bananas. This is hot shit, even though we're catching the end of it. So just think about, just, pump that into your brain while we're talking about these little quickies.
The 2 men both hit clotheslines that stagger them, only for Masa to hit an enziguri and multiple Yakuza kicks to finally take Ashura down, before going back to the STF for the submission and the win. We then get a couple commercials.
Oh, they're great.
And they're completely in Japanese, so we have no clue.
Okay, well, the steak sauce one. What happens in the steak sauce commercial?
It was one of those where I was so lost in everything, just like I couldn't take my eyes away, but I wasn't remembering anything.
A beautiful dream.
Yes.
But the cheating dogs. There's like 2 cartoon dogs like sitting on a top of a house or whatever, and they're very like cutesy, like poodle-esque, like smaller dogs, and the boy dog is like checking out another smaller dog from the roof, sitting next to his
Tom.
He's a peeping Tom, but he's a peeping Tom next to his girlfriend dog, and she hits him, and it is incredible. And I don't know what this could possibly be for, but it was adorable.
No clue on that one either.
The cheating dogs. I'm here for the cheating cartoon dogs. It's not cheating. He was just looking.
But after the commercials, we get our fourth match.
It's a full match.
Yes, this one, and it actually was still on Daily Motion the last time I checked.
And I urge you to watch this.
Absolutely. It's Shinya Hashimoto versus Hiroshi Hase in a first-round matchup.
And before they even, like, touch each other, I wrote down, I love them. Because I already love them. And now I'm just like, well, I am incredibly excited to see them against each other, to see them again. They only allow me to enjoy my love more strongly.
I mean, ever since the first time we saw Hiroshi Hase, he has been one of my favorites.
Hase is what we all, in our minds, want and think Surfer Sting is.
I can see that. And he's
like he's
a smart guy, former professor.
Yeah, he's like he's perfect babyface.
Yeah. So the two men are feeling each other out before they go into a test of strength. But Hase's bridging up to keep his shoulders off the mat and begins to fight back, hitting a reverse thrust kick. Hiroshi then goes to work on Shinya's legs. But Hashimoto works his way out and into a leg bar of his own until they roll into the ropes to break the hold.
A lot of mind games going on here.
Hase goes back to work on the legs with a figure four, which Shinya rolls over, putting the pressure onto Hiroshi. But again, they roll their way to the apron. Hashimoto begins laying it in with kicks, and if you've never seen Shinya kicks, they are some of the stiffest ones ever.
Think of like your favorite chops, turn them into kicks, and then like crank it up to 12. Like it's a legit like sweat mist with every kick. You can hear and feel them even with this shoddy audio.
You break a sweat and some ribs and
possibly
pop along in the process.
If this was a anime, they would like do the quick zoom cut to the person's heart, and you'd see it like shrink and like beat slower.
You'd have like the zoom in on their eyes first.
yeah. They go through the eyes into the chest.
Hase takes him down and goes back to the figure four. Shinya escapes with a shot to the knee and goes back to the stiff kicks. A spinning heel kick and then to a single leg crab by Hashimoto. But Hiroshi reverses into another leg bar. Once the hold is broken, a slap fest between the two breaks out.
Ugh.
Shinya goes for a suplex, but Hase floats over, runs the ropes to hit a drop kick on Hashimoto's knee.
Said it before, and I'll say it again. If I could have a job that would allow me just to slap somebody,
I don't want to get slapped by these guys. You would traditionally just come off the ropes and drop kick the guy in his chest, but we're doing something here. Everything here has purpose, and like a couple minutes into this, I'm like, why didn't we just only cover Japanese wrestling? And like, I am in love here.
Hiroshi slamming the knee on the apron, hitting elbows on it, turns Shinya over for a sharpshooter. But again, Hashimoto makes it to the ropes. Hase receives multiple kicks to the head as he continues the attack on the knee, but recovers to put the figure four back on. When the hold is broken, Hiroshi then goes to the sharpshooter, but it's broken as well.
And like, Hase is working from underneath. He is legitimately just getting brutalized with like beefy kicks, big beefy kicks, and all of his everything he comes back with is from like a shot that is like pulled deep within into a hold, but a hold he can't keep because he hasn't got enough damage on this fucking kaiju of a man.
Hase then hits a Uranagi, going up to the top rope, but Shinya meets him up there, only to receive a headbutt to fall back to the mat.
I would have loved and hated to see them come off that top rope.
Hiroshi then comes off when he receives a kick to the gut. Hashimoto goes back to the stiff kicks, multiple spinning heel kicks for 2 counts, several enziguris for a near fall, goes for a suplex, only for Hase to cradle him up for a 2 count.
You got to get those sneaky wins.
Shinya starting to get frustrated, so he starts just laying it in with forearms across the back, lifts him up with a choke slam before hitting a power bomb for a near fall.
All other wrestling is ass.
Hashimoto hits a leaping DDT for the pin, and no! Hiroshi kicks out. So he returns to the stiff kicks and looks to hit another running spinning heel kick. But Hase catches him, delivering a Uranagi for the pin and the win.
What an upset.
Mm-hmm.
And post-match, is that not the biggest smile you have ever seen on a person?
Yeah, Hase, like, he's legitimately surprised and happy and just, like, elated for himself, but in a, like, surprised and grateful way where he's like, I can't believe I pulled this out. And I imagine that this was a huge upset.
Yeah, at the time it definitely was.
Like, yeah, I mean, I legitimately could watch these guys wrestle for hours.
Hashimoto was part of the Three Musketeers, which is one of the top tier guys.
Staple of New Japan and, like, relationship that most people have with Japanese wrestling starts with the Three Musketeers in America, and I'd assume other, like, the UK, other big, like, places with... Where is there big wrestling scenes? There's, like, a UK wrestling scene, a United States wrestling scene, and a Japanese wrestling scene that, like, are... Mexico as well, for sure, but that's a whole different psychology.
Yeah.
And this one's a little bit more palatable for somebody coming from a United States, Canada, North American...
American style.
Mexico is part of North America, but you know what I mean. A more, like, contest.
Absolutely.
So just to make sure, the Three Musketeers,
Shinya Hashimoto,
Keiji Mutoh, and Masahiro Chono. And Hase is kind of like the up-and-comer, like, face, right? Like, for sure.
Yeah, he's basically like your 8th or 9th top guy.
Yeah, but he's coming up in a big way, and this win means a lot. And he has the greatest theme song of all time.
We then get an interview in the back with Hiroshi. It's in Japanese. No clue what they said.
Yeah, I'm sure he's very excited, and he can't believe that he survived those kicks. Because I could not either.
It's probably right along those lines. So then we get our 5th match. Tatsumi Fujinami versus Yoshiaki Fujiwara in a first-round matchup. Now, you've probably heard the name Fujiwara before, as he was actually the first graduate of the New Japan Pro Wrestling Dojo. Oh. But he's best known for creating the Fujiwara armbar, which we see many, many wrestlers use today.
Yes.
And the last time we saw Fujinami was at Super Show 2, episode 65.
Yes, and Fujinami has been, like, the top guy for a while.
Yeah.
But, like, coming outside of the, like, Inoki.
Out of Inoki was Fujinami.
Yeah.
As the top guy, as the ace of the company, but the Three Musketeers have come up, and so now you kind of have the top 4 guys.
Yeah, Fujinami's like your Ric Flair to your Harley Race, maybe. Would that be a decent way to put it? And then, granted, it's a much grander scale.
And then your Three Musketeers would be your Stings to the Flair.
Yeah.
But this match is joined in progress as all, and Fujiwara has his armbar on Tatsumi. But Fujinami makes it to the ropes to break the hold. Tatsumi trying to Irish whip Fujiwara, but is placed right back into the armbar and taken to the mat. Only for Fujinami to pull Fujiwara onto his shoulders for the pin and the win.
A beautiful finish that keeps the old guy safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like we come in on that armbar, but he's got it in deep as fuck.
Yes, he does.
So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we say he comes in on an armbar, but this isn't like a, reverse chinlock at Survivor Series. Like, crowd's already going crazy. Arm is in deep, and we get this surprise finish on the guy.
Think Becky Lynch Disarmor, because that's a Fujiwara armbar.
Yeah.
Just like a reverse one. Think that, and that's what Fujiwara, like, locked in, like, deep.
Oh, yeah.
One of those. Yeah.
And, this is, like, Flair laying down.
Exactly.
Based on what we just set up. And of course, nothing is 1-to-1, but just to kind of put it in some kind of perspective.
Well, now we're going to have a special extra match that we found. So our 6th match is the Hellraisers of Road Warrior Hawk and Power Warrior versus the Jurassic Powers of Scott Flash Norton and Hercules Hernandez
And can I break kayfabe?
for the IWGP Tag Team Championships.
Power Warrior? Kensuke Sasaki.
Absolutely.
Yep.
A man worthy of being in the, in the echelon of the names we just listed as the new guys.
Absolutely.
A man worthy of being next to Hase.
Definitely a
Mutoh.
step up from the tag team partner I saw him with last, I believe.
Which was Iizuka?
Eric Watts.
Oh, shit, yes. Man. I do love that, it's like, oh, okay, well, Hellraisers, we got half of
The Road Warriors.
the Road Warriors, but, Americans are going to wear red, and I guess Sasaki wears
Green.
bright green. I don't know. He looks cool. He looks cool as hell. I feel like he looks bigger than I thought he did.
He's definitely put on some mass
Yeah.
as he keeps getting older.
Yeah, but he just looks... he doesn't look out of shape or whatever, but just, even, taller. He just looks a little bit more imposing, but maybe makeup does that.
But we haven't seen Road Warrior Hawk since SummerSlam 92, episode 74.
Is that the one where...
That's in London with the puppet.
Oh, yeah, that's the one where he wasn't the drunk one, right?
Yes.
Yes, he was. Okay.
Usually
And
He walks out to the apron while the pin happens, and then walks into
in the history of the Road Warriors, Hawk is usually the drunk one.
Mm-hmm.
And Hercules, we haven't seen since Clash 20, all the way back in episode 75.
Oh, I love
Invader,
Clash
huh?
20, guys. Love Clash 20.
When he
Go
was
back. Listen to Clash 20.
Super Invader.
Yep. Because I was wondering where he disappeared to after. I think that
Clash
was the last
20?
time I remember seeing
Yeah.
him. Yeah,
He came over here to Japan.
Yeah.
makes sense.
Better over here than hanging out in Eastern Championship.
Yes, and he doesn't have to hide that monstrosity of a head.
So this match is joined in progress as well, and we see the Powers are working over Hawk, Hercules with a shoulder breaker and a back suplex, followed by a Powers double team 3-point stance and a double clothesline.
Sandwich clothesline.
Norton then hits a power slam for the pin and the win. And new. And that's why we added that match.
Yeah. Not a whole lot here, but, Sasaki in the makeup and garb is cool. And, you got to remember that Scott Flash Norton, not really a thing over here, but he was a huge part and a huge staple of New Japan wrestling in the 90s.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
No, I remember watching Scott Norton a little bit, later on in WCW, but he didn't really seem like he mattered much at all on the late 90s or whenever it was exactly that he ends up over there.
He was a big deal when he came over to WCW because of things that happened further in the future.
Yeah.
But he was never a good worker by any means.
He's up there with our, Dr. Death, where it's oh yeah, he was really big in Japan, but we still somehow can't get it. Even though we love Japanese wrestling and we're putting these guys over like gangbusters, Scott Norton is just a big guy that can show up, but he's so big that it's his wins are also believable.
So we're off to our 7th match. Tatsumi Fujinami versus Kenji Mutoh in a semi-final matchup in the G1 Climax.
Oh my god.
This match is joined in progress as well, and we see Kenji's out on the floor when Fujinami decides to fly through the ropes with a tope suicido.
Pop City, man. Everybody goes nuts.
I was like, this old man's flying, doing high-risk moves.
Oh, yeah. And Mutoh goes right into the steal.
Yeah. Tatsumi rolls Mutoh back into the ring, then comes in himself off the top rope with a knee drop.
Right to the head.
He's calling for the finish, and Fujinami with a back suplex, only for Kenji to pop up with a forearm and an inside cradle for a 2 count.
And the crowd is obviously incredibly hot.
Another back suplex by Tatsumi, a bridging German suplex for a near fall, and locks on the Dragon Sleeper, wrapping his legs around the body for the submission and the win. So Tatsumi Fujinami moves on to the finals.
Fujinami's having a wonderful 93.
Yeah.
Now our 8th match, Masahiro Chono
Oh my god.
versus Hiroshi Hase
Oh my god.
in a semifinal matchup. And this match is joined in progress as well, as both men are down, but Chono is up first, running the ropes to hit multiple Yakuza kicks
Those pump kicks.
until Hiroshi blocks the third one and looks to hit a Uranagi, only for Masahiro to elbow his way out and hit a DDT for the pin, and no! Hase kicks out. More Yakuza kicks from Chono, but again Hiroshi blocks one, clotheslines Masahiro, and locks on an upside down STF for the submission and the win.
What the fuck?
That bridging STF and the crowd's going wild, and he wins, and he's got that face where he's like, I can't believe I did this. He beat Hashimoto and Chono. This is the fourth Musketeer. Is that D'Artagnan? I don't know. I don't remember much
Yes,
about
D'Artagnan was the fourth Musketeer.
Okay, cool. I can't believe I pulled that one off. But yeah, that bridging, this is more important because it's interesting. But yeah, that bridging STF, but come on. He came up from underneath Hashimoto,
So good.
bridge STF on Masahiro Chono, and I wish we could have seen this whole thing.
Believe me, I found actually a written report of this match, so I guess there is a longer version out there somewhere.
Yeah, and it's gangbusters.
And reading it, I was just like, oh my god.
Show me.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like,
You can see it in your brain.
yeah. It was just amazing. We then get interviews in the back with Hase and Fujinami. And then we're going to add another fun special match of Jushin Thunder Liger versus Wild Pegasus for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Now, if you don't know who Wild Pegasus is, it's Chris Benoit, who we've seen back in WCW.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that we haven't seen him. I guess we didn't see him on the last show, but the one before that. He's over here just, getting better.
Absolutely.
Being in a place he can be appreciated.
So the match gets going, and Pegasus hits a... By the way, this match is an edited version of the match, but we do get to see quite a bit of
It's a little bit longer than the finishing stretch.
So Pegasus hits a vicious clothesline to start us off, followed by a shoulder block and a military press slam out to the floor. Benoit then goes up to the top rope, jumping to the outside with a diving headbutt.
Which never ages well.
Ouch.
Yeah, for sure.
At this point, we do move forward in the match, and Liger has the Romero special locked on, adding a dragon sleeper to crank on the neck, before releasing it to apply a camel clutch. But Pegasus lifts him up on his shoulders for an electric chair drop.
Ooh, and who's that in the crowd? Could that happen to be Tiger Mask? I don't know which Tiger Mask it is. I assume it's original Tiger
It's
Mask?
the second one.
Second one? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the first one for me, I think.
I mean, we haven't watched any OG Tiger Mask.
We have not seen any
But
Tiger Mask at
supposedly,
all.
like, early original Tiger Mask versus Dynamite Kid was, like, mind-blowing. Like, and I think it was some early 80s WWF MSG matches that I think exist. I don't know. Maybe one day we'll go. I would love to do a episode that is just like mass Hulkamania, like MSG matches. Because there was the MSG network, and there's a bunch of those shows on the internet, and there's some really cool stuff there.
Benoit with a spine buster for a 2 count, charges into a corner for a clothesline. Jushin reverses an Irish whip, charges in with a somersault kick, only for Pegasus to move, followed by Benoit lifting Liger up onto the turnbuckle, hitting a superplex for a near fall.
And it's so quick, like missing, like dodging the like flip kick. What is it even called?
Somersault kick.
Somersault kick. I mean, that's what I have written down. It's a flip kick, so it's like a really big risk to do that, and for a guy to be quick enough to like miss that. It's not like telegraphing the backdrop. It's like, oh, you just slammed your whole body onto the mat. Let me push you up here real quick.
Pegasus with a power bomb for a 2 count, goes for another, but Jushin reverses out of it with an arm drag takedown and a hurricanrana for a near fall. The two then trade waist locks until Liger flips over Benoit into a pinning predicament for a 2 count. Tombstone piledriver attempt by Jushin, but is reversed into one of his own by Pegasus and goes up top for a splash, but Liger gets his knees up.
Oh my god.
Jushin misses a clothesline and then comes off the ropes with a wheelbarrow victory roll, only for Benoit to just drop on top of Liger for the near fall.
Shit.
Pegasus with a Northern Light suplex, a body slam, and comes off the top rope only for Liger to catch him with a clothesline for a 2 count. Jushin then sets Benoit up on the ropes for the Super Frankensteiner for the pin, and no! Pegasus kicks out.
What won't they do?
Liger then sets Benoit up on the ropes again, but this time backwards to hit a super back suplex, only for Pegasus to turn in the air to land on top of Jushin for the pin. And no! Liger kicks out. We get a bridging full Nelson suplex by Benoit as Tiger Mask looks on. Pegasus sets Jushin now on the top rope backwards, climbs up to hit a super power bomb, but Liger is able to reverse it into a back body drop for a near fall. Jushin sent to the ropes and slides under a waiting Benoit, hitting a Uranagi for the pin and the win. Post-match, Liger celebrating when all of a sudden
Breathing heavy.
Black Tiger hits the ring, attacking Jushin. Pegasus joins in as they double drop kick on Liger to send him to the floor. Tiger Mask then runs into the ring even though his arm is in a sling, as Black Tiger hits a plancha out to the floor. Benoit tosses Tiger Mask out of the ring as Black Tiger rolls Jushin back in, heading up top. Pegasus hands Liger to Black Tiger, allowing him to hit a tornado DDT. Black Tiger starts ripping at his mask, tearing it off.
Fuck that.
But Jushin rolls over and the Young Lions hit the ring to cover his face
Gotta stop those heels.
and clear the ring.
Black Tiger. I
Such
just remember
a-
hearing that throughout the entire end of the match. Black Tiger.
So, to kind of give you some backstory on Black Tiger, he's a character that's been played by many different people, and the gimmick is basically that there's an organization called the Tiger's Cave.
So it's like a Yakuza gimmick with, a mask on.
Yeah. They seek vengeance on Tiger Mask. So they're always after Tiger Mask.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I don't know much about it, but like Jushin Thunder Liger and Tiger Mask are both characters that were like came out of like mangas and animes.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know
But
that.
they both honestly like superseded it as far as like those aren't celebrated comics in the U.S. and probably are not celebrated in Japan as much as the actual wrestlers are.
I'm just picturing like a New Japan Doink Clown College or something like that.
Don't you put that on them.
And this was Black Tiger's first appearance since 1990. So it had been 3 years.
Was it a different Black Tiger than 1990?
It was the different Black Tiger then. Because at this time, Black Tiger was portrayed by none other than Eddie Guerrero.
Mm-hmm.
And Guerrero is a hardcore WWE and Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Famer.
And his family put on one of the matches that we shit our pants about early in this show.
That's right.
Where we're like, what show was that?
AWA.
It might have been one of the few AWA shows we covered, but it was like, oh damn, there's a group of Guerreros here doing like head scissor takedowns. And we were just like, oh damn, was not ready for this.
I mean, hell, one of the Guerreros becomes the gobbledygooker.
Do you have any quick hits on other Black Tigers?
I know that current New Japan pro wrestler Tomohiro Ishii was a Black Tiger at one point, and he was one of, I think, the only non-gaijin to
Really?
ever portray Black Tiger.
I did
It was
not-
usually a foreigner.
I did
that
not know
portrayed
he
that
was a
part.
Black Tiger, and that's my favorite wrestler. Because every time I've seen him, like, he's been thick his whole life.
I mean, Eddie Guerrero is the only one that ever did anything back in America, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well-known.
Was Rocky Romero not a Black Tiger at some point?
I did not see his name on there.
Okay.
He may have been, though.
I know he did a mask thing at some point, but I also have much love for Rocky.
So that leads us to our 10th match, the G1 Climax Finals of Tatsumi Fujinami versus Hiroshi Hase. This match does get joined in progress as we see Fujinami working over the heavily taped knee of Hiroshi, applying a figure 4, but Hase rolls it over to reverse the pressure before making the ropes.
You know, continuity, baby.
Tatsumi stomping away on the knee, only for Hiroshi to come back with chops, but Fujinami with a kick to the leg and right back to the figure 4. After making it to the ropes, the two trade leg bars before a chop fest breaks out, knocking Hase to the mat. So Tatsumi locks on a Boston Crab.
The dreaded Boston Crab. I love a single leg Boston Crab, but it's like, if you're going to do the single leg Boston Crab, it better be to the knee or leg that you've been like already working over.
Back to the chops between the two, and Hiroshi with multiple Yakuza kicks before hitting a Uranagi. Hase's limping around on his leg, goes for another Uranagi, but Fujinami elbows out momentarily, only for Hiroshi to hit multiple power bombs for a 2 count. Hase then turns Tatsumi over for the sharpshooter, but Fujinami crawls his way to under the ropes to break the hold. Hiroshi stays on the attack, goes for another Uranagi. Looks like Tatsumi is going to elbow his way out, but Hase changes it into a dragon suplex for the pin, and no! Fujinami kicks out.
Hase hits the mat in frustration.
Hiroshi hits his invention, the Northern Light suplex, for a near fall, followed by a Saito suplex for a 2 count.
And Hase is just really selling the frustration of like, I'm giving it all I got and I can't keep this guy down.
Hase invented the Northern Light suplex?
He did.
Did not know this.
Hase locks on a full Nelson, only for Tatsumi to escape and hit a Uranagi. Fujinami hits another Uranagi before applying the sharpshooter, but Hiroshi makes it to the ropes. Tatsumi then pulls Hase away and locks the sharpshooter right back on, but again,
cranks it.
Hiroshi powers out to make the ropes.
My God, everyone's going wild. This is the finals, guys.
Fujinami locks on the sharpshooter one more time, but it's too much as he gets the submission and the win.
And a star is born.
So Tatsumi Fujinami is your 93 G1 Climax winner.
I mean, I'm not mad about it. I was just really... I had a feeling Hase was going to go all the way.
I mean,
we all wanted him to.
We wanted it
too, yeah. I mean, wait, is it Fujinami or Fujiyama?
Tatsumi Fujinami.
Okay.
We then see some interviews with Hiroshi and Tatsumi in the back after the match, and they shake hands. And that's the end of our G1 Climax.
That is that.
So I ask you, gentlemen.
Yes.
What are your overall thoughts of the 93 G1 Climax?
I wish it was longer. I wish we could have seen all these matches from beginning to end. All the finishes that we did see were great. As great as this finals was, not being able to see all of it, and all of these matches truly have the potential to be my favorite if I could watch them from beginning to end. But my favorite match is the one we watched from beginning to end. Hase, Shinya Hashimoto is what I essentially live for when it comes to professional wrestling. Dude working from underneath with the fucking spirit and a bigger, stronger guy that he has to outwit, has to find a different way to defeat because he can't go power to power with him. And he just beat down Shinya Hashimoto. Not my spirit animal, but I wish that he was. I want to be more like him. And also those sleazy fucking shitty sideburns of his are so great.
How about you, Shane, on your third or fourth partaking of the Japanese wrestling?
It was awesome. Much like Mike said, it would have been cool to see more of these matches, but then at the same time, since they were just not that they're bad matches, but since they were the starting rounds, whatever, it was
a lot
good
of
that
that finishes.
Yeah, they showed a lot of the hot moments of them, at least. Getting to watch Liger and Benoit was killer. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Yes.
It was very
What
good.
move it was exactly, but there was one that just looked like Liger picked up Benoit and just slammed him down to the ground. It was right towards the end. I don't remember what the hell move it was, but yeah. I remember having to rewind that and watch it again because it was just...
Yeah, just like
every time I look at Liger, he just looks like this little guy, and watching him do all this power shit that he does is incredible.
This is one of the matches where I feel like you've got more... Liger emotes more, but I think it's just because he's like blown up, because he's just like breathing so heavy that he seems a little bit more alive and less of like the like cool, calm, like superhero vibe. Like he feels more like, palpable. Like it's like, oh, like there's a fucking dude under there.
And it was cool getting to see the Hellraisers too, because I've heard the tag team name but never actually got to watch them in action, and then get to see them in 2 matches or a match and a half, whatever you want to count it as. With the other one on the little flash drive it was awesome.
Yeah, the Sasaki in full gimmick was like, oh, this is fun. But just to see him all dressed up.
So yeah, these small little glimpses that we get, it really just makes me want more.
And the thing is like we catch the end of these. We're watching like the finishing stretches of all of these is basically what we covered, and you understand that we're excited about it, but watching them, you wish you would have saw what led up to this, but you believe the crowd because they're going nuts.
Yeah.
So you like immediately are already like kind of there, and you kind of pick up on, you can see what limb they're working, or you see a hold reverse and you know that it's been used, or they went back to the well and it was their downfall, or or they finally got it in and won the match. But like the crowd participation really does make even these like 3-minute finishing stretches completely worth it, as opposed to a show we've talked about recently where we were like, oh yeah, that was really good, but then the finish just like farted out.
Yeah.
And here, it's all about the finish, and they're all done to like a high level that is intelligent and makes sense. There's psychology. You hear that word a lot in wrestling, so I was trying to stay away from it, but like it makes sense in this thing that we all know is a like worked shoot, but it's still 2 people fighting.
Yeah. My opinion literally is that if you can ever watch any of these guys, you have to take the chance to do so.
Yeah, definitely. Just put it into YouTube. Whatever you come up with is probably going to be pretty fucking good.
Absolutely.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? All right, fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of your best moments of the show?
Every single kick from the monolith kaiju that is Shinya Hashimoto. I also love his
Hase smile.
Oh, the Hase smile.
Like,
honestly, yes.
Because like I watched these matches before you guys ever did, and as soon as I saw that, I was just like, oh.
Well, I didn't think he was gonna win.
Just like brightened my day completely.
I did not think he was gonna win. And that smile after like getting the sneak pin on Hashimoto, he just like comes up from the pin and just has this like smile that the camera captures perfectly.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned it, the Liger Benoit match.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that one still stands out.
Those 2 guys just had such great chemistry together. Mm-hmm. And then the whole...
It makes me wish it's like, why isn't Pillman over here? Granted, he is doing great work with Steve Austin at the moment, but like, can you imagine those?
Do we ever get to see him? Does he ever go and participate?
Pillman?
I don't know.
I don't know that Pillman ever does in a significant way, but he might, because it seems like everybody, at the very least, has a cup of coffee in Japan. But then there's people like Scott Norton who, have a couple of pots, but then they don't really mean much over here.
How about disappointing? Is there anything disappointing on this show?
Just that it wasn't longer. Just that we didn't have the full matches for what we watched. But I mean, If this is
believe me,
disappointing, then like, what are you even doing here?
Yeah.
because I had found the 2 semifinal matches, the final match, and that Hase Hashimoto match in full on Daily Motion,
And they disappeared.
and then they got taken down.
Yeah.
And it
So that's my most disappointing thing.
I
Daily Motion
literally
took them down.
I literally was like, because I was
No.
ready to give them to you guys, and like, here we go. These are the matches we're going to cover.
Yeah.
And it was like, I can't find them. And like, they're gone. And
Yeah.
I found out that the dude's channel got completely taken down.
Damn.
And
I guess we
It's-
could have found probably a weird torrent. I don't know what the wrestling torrent
I
situation
mean, the only
is
torrent
going on.
the only thing I could find was what we got.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess
And-
you obviously got this off of some kind of torrent.
And so I was glad we were still able to watch it, because whenever I couldn't find them on Daily Motion, I was worried that like literally
We're gonna have to skip this.
we were gonna have to skip it, and it
No.
made me sad
Yeah.
completely. So I'm glad that we were able to watch what we could,
Yeah.
Yes.
but knowing that if literally we had watched this stuff like 3 weeks earlier,
Yeah. If all of
we
these,
would have gotten like an hour and a half of
Yeah.
4 matches. That would have been just awesome.
yeah, if like all of these finishes are so good and intelligent and full of heart, and like we're having a hard time finding that elsewhere, and it's like, well, like we know that it built to this, but the build is incredibly important, and that's why we are all the 3 of us, even though that finals was great, we're all falling towards the Hase Shinimoto match because we got to
Because we got to see
experience the whole
entire
thing,
match, yeah.
and like not to say that those other matches could not have been just as good or better, but we didn't get to experience them the same way.
I mean, I can, like I said while we were talking about the Hase Chono match, like from what I read from this written report, if we had gotten to see that match,
It probably would. I mean,
I think it might have been on the short list.
the Hase Shinimoto was shortlist for me.
I mean, it's great,
Just
but
be-
I really think that the Chono
Oh, yeah.
Hase match would have even topped
You would
that.
like to think that the finals match would be better than that. Wasn't even a semifinals match. The Hase Shinimoto, right?
No, that was the first round match.
Yeah. That's like
First, I thought you were
yeah.
talking about Chono. I'm like, that one was a semifinal.
Yeah. No, but it's like that wasn't even a semifinal, and it was my favorite match. But it's because I got to experience the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I
You're
was
biased.
I was completely biased and completely just like into it. It's like, oh, I caught the end of Shawshank Redemption. That looks like a pretty good movie. Hadn't seen it before. Like, oh, okay, all right, well,
2 thumbs up.
yeah, it's like, I liked it. I think I might like to watch that again. It's like, well, it's just really not the same thing.
Best performer of the night, it's Hase.
Yeah,
Right? No one's going to disagree with this.
it's Hase for sure. Working from underneath the way that he did was incredible.
Yeah.
Anything surprising? I mean,
For me,
it's kind of Hase as well, just because not expecting him to make a finals.
I mean, again, it wasn't a match that we covered on here, but just the fact that there was a Hogan
So
tag team match.
on the video that we had, there was actually a Hogan Mutoh versus the Hellraisers match. Decided not to cover it just because trying to keep the show length down a little bit.
Yeah,
And
I watched it,
plus, I figured all we might do is complain about Hogan anyway. So,
but he bumped. That's why I'm happy.
That's
He
that's
bumped.
something that surprised me.
but
the
it
most.
actually was a pretty good match. So
Yeah.
if you can find it as well,
Like he tagged.
Definitely
It
look
was
it
the
up.
most
Yeah.
un-Hogan match I've ever seen because I figured, all right, I'm just going to fast forward through this bullshit anyways. And seeing him in there with people that I'm familiar with, but wrestling in a different style that I haven't seen him do before, where he was actually, I don't know,
Comes for the
bumping
payday.
and-
He doesn't eat the pin, but he goes in first, bumps for like 4 or 5 minutes in a legitimate competitive, and it's also versus like Hawk, which like seeing Hawk and Hogan in the same ring against each other and Hogan bumping for Hawk
Yeah.
is legitimately surreal in the first place.
Yep.
But I knew he wasn't going to take the pin, but just seeing that alone, like, kind of, like, momentarily thawed my ice-cold Hogan heart.
Yeah, when Real American was playing after the match was over.
You froze right back up?
I didn't get angry because, again, I was just more lost at what I had saw on TV.
We've seen him, like, do everything he could not to take a bump at, like, WrestleMania fucking 2 and 3.
WrestleMania ever.
Yeah, but, like, do everything he could to, like, just not even take a bump to the point where it was potentially more dangerous. And here he's actually, like, bumping and being competitive with somebody who is nowhere near, like, Road Warriors, Hawk, huge, a thing that was really special in the 80s and petered out, unfortunately, more quickly than we'd like. But, like, he's not ever going to be compared to Hogan.
No.
But Hogan's bumping for him.
Yeah.
Making their way to the ring.
It's trivia time.
Oh, shizzle.
So this week,
Giant Baba.
I don't think that one's the
That's
answer
not
you
the
want to
answer.
give.
Yeah, we have not seen a giant. We have not. No, it was a
Yeah.
joke because we're in Japan.
Like, I didn't think that it had been covered.
And
but
he started the other promotion. It was a joke.
This week the category is pay-per-feud.
We're back, and it's time to play the feud. Let's have it. Sean.
I will list the matches of a show. You guess the name and year of it.
Oh, I've got one of these before.
Yeah, you're better at this.
The points are based on when you answer, so 4 points for the first match, so on and so forth.
Name that pay-per-view.
The first match is Hulk Hogan versus Honky Tonk Man for the WWF Heavyweight Championship. Shane.
Let's say Saturday night's main event. Are we counting those? Mm-hmm. Just to make sure.
Oh,
Kevin?
okay. I was.
All right.
I thought we were talking pay-per-views.
Well, it shows that
we covered.
Oh, show we covered. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Saturday night's main event.
Like, you don't have to guess the date if it's a,
1980.
that's wild.
Let me do my math here. 7.
I'm going to give it to you on just the second.
Oh my god. Yeah, no shit. I was like, what could this possibly be? Because I was just thinking pay-per-views, even though I know it's whatever we covered. But I was like, my first thought was like wrestling classic, but I know that's wrong. But I know it wasn't at a WrestleMania.
Like, I know it was a Saturday night's main event. I just
Technically,
can't remember
the answer is technically Saturday Night Main Event 22.
Oh.
But I'm not going to,
Yeah. It's 88 though, right?
89.
Oh, 89, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you said 80, you were like 87, and I was like, I think it's 88, and here's Matt with 89. But Saturday Night Main Event, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, so
You got a breakdown of what happened here?
Shane gets 4 points for that, for getting that one. The other matches on the show
Goddamn
were
dog.
Jimmy Snuka versus Greg Valentine,
Oh, okay.
Brutus Beefcake versus Randy Savage, and the Brainbusters versus Demolition in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the WWF Tag Team Championships.
Oh, man, it'd be great
That
if
was
we
all on
could
that show.
just do an episode that was every Brainbusters match while they were the Brainbusters, which is like 88 to 80 to a little bit of 89. It's like basically like a 9-month window between those 2 years.
So Shane's starting to kind of extend his lead a little bit. He's up to 8 points ahead.
He fucking earned it. Why was he fighting Brutus? Man, remember how great it was watching Valentine be wildly uncomfortable in that gimmick with the guitar? Poor guy.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, I want to drink a beer with Valentine, but I know, like, talking to him is probably like chewing cardboard.
Yeah.
But maybe not. Maybe he's really interesting and personable, but...
Get a couple beers in him, maybe.
Yeah. But, like, he's a wrestler, man. He's not an entertainer.
Next week, Clash of the Champions 24.
Man, we have been straight clashing.
That's right.
But I like the Clash. Big Clash fan.
I hope I like this clash.
Yeah.
I mean,
Of course.
everyone should be just shocked by what happens on this show.
Does Pitbull perform?
Pretty close. Pretty close.
Are the masters of the Powerbomb still the masters?
They might be.
Who knows?
Music from this week's show is The Score by Emerson, Lake and Powell, which is the theme song for New Japan.
Emerson, Lake and Palmer?
And Powell.
Who's Powell?
The guy who took over after Palmer left.
Oh, I didn't even know that there was a guy that took over.
Yeah. And Tatsumi Fujinami's theme song at this time, Super Dragon. If you like this show or any of our other ones, please go out there and rate and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you find your podcasts at. You can always hit us up on our email at wrestlinghistoryx@gmail.com with any questions, comments, concerns, recipes.
Recipes. Where do we know where Clash is partaking?
Yes. Clash is in Florida.
Ooh.
This Powell thing's really throwing me off. I did
It's
not
been the
know.
same way every Japanese show.
I know I'm wrestling Palmer brain salad surgery. The one with the thing on it. The tank. I think Arrakis.
Don't think so much about it. You're gonna hurt yourself.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends.
Oh, that. Gotcha.
If you wanna calm Michael down, send us an email.
First band I ever saw live.
Find us
Who
on
is Powell?
or find us on Twitter at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTOX. We'll talk to you next week.
Later.